Is Scipio Prime dead? No, he's not. But let's talk about Scipio Prime and if you should invest in him in June of 2025 and beyond. If you guys are new here, this is Gainz Gaming and I am a sponsored content creator with Rise of Kingdoms, making a video here today on Scipio Prime and whether or not you should invest in him. I personally have, and I have absolutely not regretted it whatsoever. He has 45 million kills for me so far since I have expertised him in May of 2022. Now, when we talk about Scipio Prime, we need to talk about the other infantry commanders that we have available at this time as well. Additionally, we need to talk about how many infantry marches you are currently running, because that is drastically going to change your commitment level and what you are willing to spend your gold heads on, because your gold heads are precious and you should be making sure you invest them in the right spot. So, Scipio, where does he rank amongst infantry commanders? In my opinion, he probably ranks number 3, maybe number 4. But it's not just where he ranks individually, it's where he ranks in terms of pairings, because you can have a phenomenal commander, but if you don't have the pairing for it, it's not going to be as good as another pair where the commanders aren't as good, but they pair together so well and just trade even better. So in my opinion, what is the best infantry commander in Rise of Kingdoms in June of 2025? That's a very easy question. It's going to be Luce. Luce is 1000% the best commander in Rise of Kingdoms. Whether it's infantry, cavalry, archers, engineering, he is the best commander. He is your number one priority in every facet, 1000%. I will stand by that every single day. He is the best commander that you are going to invest into as of right now. The best pairing with him used to be Scipio Prime. Then we had William Wallace get introduced, and William Wallace Luce was a better pairing. William Wallace primary, Luce secondary. So Scipio Prime kind of took a backseat to that number 1 spot. And then we had BQ come in, and William Wallace took that bench spot of number 2 with Luce. So now BQ Luce is the best infantry pair in Rise of Kingdoms. So that not only took Scipio Prime from number 3, but bumped him down to number 4 in terms of best pairings with the number 1 infantry commander in the game. And Scipio Prime used to be the best infantry commander in the game, in my opinion, before Luce was released. So what are your options for your Scipio Prime? Because if you've invested into him, where are you going to put him? Well, you can still put him with Luce. He is still going to do phenomenal with Luce. You can still put him with Guan Yu. You can still put him with Ragnar Prime. You can still put him with Alexander the Great. You can put him in a lot of different places, but where does he really fit? In my opinion, he is your number 2 March. And that's personally what I'm running right now. I currently have 4 of, in my opinion, the top 5 infantry commanders in Rise of Kingdoms. And that is going to be Luce, Ragnar Prime, William Wallace, and Scipio Prime. But we still have BQ. And like I said, BQ with Luce is the best pairing in Rise of Kingdoms. I have not yet expertised BQ, but I am certainly making my way there. So what does that leave me with my 4 expertise commanders right now when I only run 2 infantry pairs? Well, one of these 3 commanders has to get benched, whether it's Scipio Prime, Ragnar Prime, or William Wallace. And right now, I am leaning toward William Wallace, not Scipio Prime. William Wallace will most likely take the back seat on the bench while I am using BQ, because we're talking about smite damage. And when it comes to smite damage, like BQ, best option with Luce. And the other best option with Luce is William Wallace. However, William Wallace paired with Scipio Prime or with Ragnar Prime just isn't that great. Can you use it? Yeah, but it's not going to be very synergistic. It's not going to match very well because you're balancing that smite damage with your skill damage and they don't really combine. So if you're using wedge formation, you're losing that benefit from your William Wallace. Or if you're using pincer, you're losing the benefit from your Scipio Prime. Or if you're using arch, then you're losing it from your Scipio Prime again. So you really have to decide what you're going to lean into. And I've been public about this. I have said that I think that infantry is moving toward smite damage. So then if you're talking about smite damage and commanders that are not smite damage, like Scipio Prime, where does that leave you? Because if I'm saying that infantry is going heavy into smite damage, and the next best infantry is smite damage, then your Scipio Prime might get benched. And that absolutely could be the case. But in my opinion, I do not think we are going to see another infantry commander on par with BQ or Luce for a very long time. We certainly could, And I'll eat my words if we do, but I don't think we're going to see that. I think the next infantry that we see will be good, but not great. I don't think it's going to bench William Wallace. I don't think it's going to bench Scipio Prime. I don't think it's going to bench Ragnar Prime. I think that if they were to do that, it'd make infantry way too strong. Because if you had a commander that paired super well with William Wallace and with smite damage and had AoE and had all the right things, and then you have BQ and Luce, like, how are you going to beat that? How is any other troop type going to compete with infantry? The answer is they're not. So, in my opinion, they just released the next best infantry right after Luce. They're not going to release another one this good for a long time. Could be a year, could be 2 years, could be longer. We really don't know. So I think your investment into Scipio Prime right now is safe as long as you are running more than one infantry pair. If you are not running more than one infantry pair, Scipio Prime does not need to be expertised. And that's crazy to say because I used to say Scipio Prime was a no-brainer. Absolutely everybody needs to invest in him. Right now, not anymore, because if you're only going to invest into one infantry, it's going to be Luce and it's going to be BQ, and that's going to be your one infantry march because it's the best option. But if you are somebody that has already invested into Scipio and you're like, oh crap, now I've just wasted 700 gold heads and he's not as good. That's not what I'm saying here. I think that the benefit that you get from using BQ with Luce is worth investing into if you have the means to do it. If you have this many gold heads, you absolutely can invest 600 gold heads into BQ and expertise him and then use them with Luce and still have 600 left over for the next commander that comes out if you want to invest into it. But if you're sitting at 40 gold heads and you have Scipio Prime and you have Luce, like, you're not going to try to save up to use BQ and then bench Scipio Prime. You're going to start investing into your archers or your cavalry or maybe even engineering. So I don't think that Scipio Prime is dead. I think he is absolutely phenomenal still in June of 2025 and still very, very usable. But I think looking forward at the future, if you are new to the game and maybe you don't have any of these Season of Conquest commanders, Season 3 and beyond, then I don't think you need Scipio Prime. And I think that your number one priority is Luce, and then you invest into BQ. And I think that is going to be your infantry pair. Unless you run a second pair, then you can invest into Scipio Prime. And maybe you're thinking, okay, well, if I invest into Scipio Prime then as my second pair, who am I going to pair him with? Who is going to have the most longevity? And the answer is, I don't really know. But I can give you my recommendation on what I would do if I was in your situation. And for me personally, I would invest into Alexander the Great in KVK2 and use him in KVK2 and rack up a crap ton of kills, 82 million kills from Alexander the Great. And I would use him with Scipio Prime until the next infantry came out. Now, if you don't want to do that and you don't want to use Alexander the Great, maybe you don't even want to invest in Alexander the Great. You just want to use something basically free to play in as like a placeholder until the next infantry comes out. You absolutely can do that. And in that case, you could run Charles Martel. It's not going to be great, but it's usable. You could even go for some epics and you could use Sun Tzu. You absolutely could. You could use Bjorn. Would I recommend that? No, I would recommend investing into a legendary commander, potentially Ragnar Prime. I think Ragnar is a great commander. I don't think he's a must-use commander, but he is a great commander at the end of the day. Another option you could go for is Guan Yu, the good old Guan Scipio. But I personally would not recommend that. I personally have already benched my Guan quite some time ago. So at the end of the day, it's going to be what you want to do. If you want to save gold heads for the next infantry to pair with Scipio Prime, or maybe at that point, maybe you bench Scipio. But I think he is going to be here for the long haul. I don't really see a commander that comes out that benches him for a very long time at least, because he's just that good of a commander. And not only for how he trades, but how he's going to benefit your murder ball as well. Like, for example, even with his first skill, he's going to decrease 3 troops health by 30% for 3 seconds. That's absolutely insane. And then with his 4th skill as well, whenever he takes skill damage, has a 50% chance to grant damage absorbing shield to up to 3 nearby enemy troops for 3 seconds, damage factor of 500. So he is absolutely still phenomenal and still a great commander in 2025. This was pretty much clickbait, but a lot of people have been asking me about Scipio Prime and whether they should invest in him, because I make these Are They Dead videos and people want to see, what about this commander? So Scipio Prime was a request for this video. If you have any that you want to see in the future, comment them down below. I'll make sure I make a video on it. Thank you for checking this one out, and I'll see you guys in the next one.